let's talk about how to set up data for charting using QI macros and Excel. There's really two kinds of data. There's what's known as time series data, so I'll just type the word time series in here, and categories. And so time series is anything that's like by day, by month, by whatever. So I could type in January here. And then when I click on this, you can see there's a little dot down here. I could actually drag that down, and Excel will put in the months. And then I could just type in my data. Right, so that's time series data. I'm going to move that over just a second. But then there's categories of data, like men between the ages of 20 and 40, and men between the ages of 40 and 60. That's a category, all right? We could also have types of mistakes and errors, like folded, damaged, bent, etc. Or in healthcare, we might have type of patient harm like falls or injuries, etc. Those are categories, all right? And so, we might have a certain number of men that we took care of between those ages, and there was 30 of those, and there was 45 of these. Or we might have had folded flaps, so there might have been 5 of those, and 17 damaged, and 3 bent. Or falls, we might have had, 6 this month, and we had 11 injuries of some kind. So this is category data, all right? And this is time series data. Now, if you have time series data, you're most likely going to use a line, run, or control chart. So in QI macros, we could turn that into a line chart by clicking on Excel charts line chart. And here you can see it stole the phrase time series and put it down here. And you can see our little ziggy-zaggy line. But it doesn't really tell us much about how this process is working. The next step in the world was they invented what are called run charts, which is to put a median line in the middle to see how everything works. So you can see this chart looks a lot different from that chart, right? So it's starting to speak to, I believe, how this process is working. And if you have less than 15 points, that's a good thing to start with, is a run chart. But then if you really want to go up, you want to do a control chart. And our control chart wizard will go out and pick the right kind of chart for you and calculate a center line and upper and lower control limits and put that all together for you. And you can see here there's nothing really out of control there. Now the QI macros has, under QI macros help, all kinds of sample data. So if you want to know what your sample data should look like, for example, in healthcare, you could pick the healthcare data guide or the SPC, and here you can see we can get things like falls per 1,000 patient days, or ventilator-assisted pneumonia rate, by month patient satisfaction, right? So by time series. And all you have to do is select that data with your mouse, click on our control chart wizard, and it'll go create that chart for you, which will show some out of control points here. And you can see it looks like they had some problems and they may have made some improvements. And once you click on the chart, we actually have a number of charting tools that will enable you to do things like show process changes on your chart. Right, and so we have all kinds of data in here to assist you with that. Now with our category data, right, we're not going to put all this together. That would be silly, but I wanted to give you some ideas. We're going to go back over to our healthcare data. And here you can see we have things that are Pareto chart data. Now, things here like timely filing or types of pharmacy errors or whatever. This is in healthcare. Now, we could take that and we could turn that into a bar chart or a column chart. And here you can kind of see what's in there. But it's not going to be as helpful as maybe a Pareto chart. So I could collect that data, select that data with a mouse, come over to QI macros and click on Pareto chart. It'll ask if you want to summarize the default bars, and you don't. But anyway, so the order not received and wrong frequency of dose were the biggest causes of errors. All right, there's all kinds of other things in here. So here's denied claims. And here you can see that timely filing caused 61% of the types of defects. Now this is a bar chart combined with a line chart, and this is actually a pretty smart chart. It gives you a lot more information. All right, so there's things like you can have multiple medication errors at baseline, 6 months, and 18 months. If you run the Pareto chart, it will actually go and create all of those charts for you. Right, beginning, middle, and end. So that's how you create data for charts. Time series charts or category charts. And predominantly that's going to be the Pareto chart. Now we also have histograms. Let me show you how that works. So here's some automotive industry action group data. This is piston diameters. And you can see we're an upper spec and a lower spec limit here. We could click on histograms, type in our upper spec, our lower spec, and here's a histogram, which has summarized all the spread of the data. So this is how we see variation in a process. So that's the histogram. So that's how we start to create all of these charts, right? We're going to have line series or time series charts. And again, if you orient this in a vertical column, it makes it a lot easier for the computer. If you try and make it horizontal, that's trying to make it easy for humans. No, if you want to chart stuff, put it in a column, all right? And that's the secret to creating data for charts in the QI macros. Are you still using line, bar, and pie charts from the last century? You might want to consider control charts, Pareto charts, and histograms. Smart charts for the 21st century.